Hello and welcome to 24/7 Video Co. My name is David. In this video I'm going to be looking at some basic shots that I filmed with the Sony A6700, the 18-105 f4 Sony lens and the Sigma 16mm f1.4. The basis of this video is that when I was looking at buying one of these cameras, I found it quite hard to find videos that sort of like showed me the content that I would be filming. So ultimately what you are looking at is basic level, not really any color grading. I filmed in either S-Log3 or Cinetone. I've added a LUT to tweak the contrast and the saturation a little bit, and then maybe I've added a cinematic LUT over the top. No more than 3 minutes spent on color grading the entire sequence. Active stabilisation. Active stabilisation. Left-handed filming. Oh, autofocus gone. And what I find when I watch YouTube videos is that too often I don't actually know what I'm looking at. So I see camera footage, it's filmed handheld, what sort of image stabilization is going on. No branded t-shirts, no flexing my muscles, you won't see me posing with the camera. All of the footage that you see will be from the camera. So this isn't all about like top level grading, this is all about what you can get out of this camera with a basic lens, a basic setup, a basic grade. How quick can you turn around the footage and what does it look like at the end of the shoot? And I must say, I really like it. So let's have a look at some of the shots. Okay, so this footage of the projector was filmed indoors. I had my curtain windows open, there's no additional lighting. Cinetone, it looks really nice for what it is. I think if you look closely there is a little bit of noise there, but there is nothing of any concern for me. I actually tried some vintage lenses in this shoot and I must say it looks so damn good. Anyway, so that is the F4 Sony indoors with no additional lighting and S-Cinetone profile. Now we're on the Sigma, and this was a impromptu moment. We saw a sunset and my daughter and I quickly pulled over, we jumped out the car and I grabbed some shots. It looks really beautiful, however I couldn't get the sunset to match sort of what I was seeing with my eye. I would have to spend some serious time grading that. You can see with the iPhone, it looks really nice through the iPhone as well. With regards to my daughter's makeup and using like a sepia tone cinema LUT, I struggle a little bit to grade it how I want it, but I think it's a really good example of this is sunset, low light, outdoors, handheld. I'm messing around, we're in a field, I'm not spending time trying to get the perfect shot here. But you can get a good sort of feel for the look that you can achieve. I think this was just standard stabilization in the camera, and I have applied a couple of LUTs to this, one to fix contrast and the saturation, and then one cinematic look. It looks lovely for what it is. Next up, it's the donkeys walking towards the camera whilst I am setting up my gimbal with the Sony F4 18-105. It was an overcast day, I'm in the shadow of woodland, and as I say, the donkeys were approaching me, so I sort of grabbed some shots and then I went for a walk into the woods and started to film some stuff around there. This is S-Log 3. I was actually testing out the autofocus, teaching myself the settings with the camera. What can I say? I think this looks really, really beautiful for what it is. I would actually have liked to have got the Sigma or a Super Takumar in this sort of darker forest area. However, it's an easy way of making things look very good with this F4. If I remember correctly, I was on 24 frames per second and 48 shutter speed with the and I was tweaking the aperture to overexposure the shots by +2, and you know, you lose some of the depth of field, but equally it looks really good, and it's I love this lens. It's a really adaptable lens. As much as I love the Sigma and the Super Takumar F4 f1.8, the reality is I will probably use this lens the most because it gives that wide angle, it gives a telephoto, but I really like the look of this lens, and this is a lens that I'll be using much more in similar settings as what you're looking at now. Active stabilisation now on. This next segment was like the extreme end of camera testing. Out on a cold night with a dog, autofocus. It's a 1.4 Sigma lens, but just using street lights, and as you can see, it doesn't really hold up, and I doubt many cameras would hold up in a situation like this. I'm throwing the ball with my right hand, I'm holding the camera with my left hand. That's amazing. Well done, Rosa. It's as would be expected. Could you grade this footage? Probably. It has got a lot of noise, but the more you move into light, the less the noise is evident. And as you can see here, with this there was a lot of light in this car park. It looked really great. So this isn't a downside of the lens. This is just testing the camera and getting the results that I would expect. I don't really see this sort of stuff on many other sort of YouTube videos. This is kind of what I want to see. So if I walk into the woodlands with just one street light, what's it going to be like? The reality is it's going to be like any other camera. However, when there's some light there, it does look really good, and for the money that you're paying for this camera and this lens setup, it's a really good quality, and some of the footage is very gradable. And now it's time for some wow footage. Look at this. So we're obviously on a bridge, on a motorway. The car lights give it that light that it needs. That means you can adjust the settings on the camera and you can get these amazing shots. For the money that we're spending on this camera, this is with a Sigma lens, this is really impressive. And then you can do your cinema type grading on top of your standard grading. It looks absolutely incredible. Is the A6700 a professional camera? I'd probably say it's a professional camera, but this is a new level of quality for that kind of price. Sony and Sigma working together here, this is new territory. I can't wait to shoot some music videos or in some concerts with this. It would just look absolutely fantastic. So this is the raw footage, and I will correct the footage with the basic LUT, just doing contrast, some saturation, some highlights, etc. And then we can add some cinema type LUTs to get this kind of look. So I'm super impressed with this low light scenario. Even though it's got the headlights on a motorway, it looks absolutely fantastic for the money. And finally, golden hour with pigs in the New Forest, one of my favourite places to film. I really wanted to capture the sort of the autumn tints, and very clearly everything's gold already. It was perfect opportunity for a sepia kind of film look. And what can I say, this is such basic level. It's not as if I'm really challenging anything here. This is a gimbal, a camera, a lens, autofocus. I'd actually messed up some of the autofocus settings to some degree, so it was out more than it should have been. However, that was down to operator error and nothing else. It just looks fabulous. There's not much more I can say. It's excellent quality. If you spend a little bit of time, I'm using the K&F Concepts ND filter. Cost about £20 or £30. It's like the low level one, and in certain scenarios it creates an effect If you have a look at the footage here, you'll see it in the middle of the screen there, but just avoid that. Just avoid that. It looks so good. So that's it. You've been watching 24/7 Video Co. I'm going to do loads more videos on this camera, some other cameras, lenses, etc. So stay in touch. Peace. Thank you for watching 24/7 Video Co. Thank you.